Are you tired of high CDN rates, big latency issues for live events, and managing all of those file versions of your videos? Well, in this interview with Iluvio's Michelle Munson, recorded at IBC 2019, she says she has the cure for all of those problems and a lot more. Let's get started. This is Colin Dixon with nScreenNoise, and I'm at IBC 2019, and I'm talking to Michelle Munson. She is founder and CEO of Iluvio. And why don't we start off with, what is Iluvio?
Thanks for having me this morning. So Iluvio is obviously a new company, and we're introducing a new platform here at IBC called the Content Fabric. It is a new software overlay network for internet video distribution. It's built on some very interesting new principles. It allows for direct distribution from source content all the way to consumable media in a highly scalable new architecture. Provides very low latency quality in terms of the streaming of video, both on demand, live, and also linear channels. And it allows for compositionality without having to create file versions. It makes it very bandwidth and storage efficient. And then finally, because it's based on componentized media and programmability in the media, it allows for personalization and monetization opportunities that are new and different for content providers.
So this is a custom-built distribution system for video, right? That's the key thing. It does live, it does on demand,
and linear,
and of course linear. So you mentioned some really interesting pieces of technology there. So you're using AI, you're using blockchain, and most importantly, I think you're using a distribution model that allows the provider to only provide one copy of the video rather than having to create multiple. So let's take each of those in parts.
Sure.
Let's start with the one copy.
Sure. So this is a novel concept in that media in the content fabric, instead of being a flat file, when it's ingested as a file or as a stream, is creating a component. The fabric is creating a componentized structure, and we call that a content object. And the content object allows for that media asset to be versioned. It also allows for updates to those versions to be done by reference only, creating no in-file copies as those content objects are stored and distributed throughout the fabric. And that one principle allows for a couple of key characteristics to emerge. With the right kind of distribution logic, it saves core bandwidth fundamentally, also saves storage throughout that chain from source to final distribution. And then finally, it allows for the compositionality that we have created in this with the dynamic code that's part of those content objects.
So with those words, you've made a lot of COOs very happy, saving a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Now, tell me how you're using blockchain. Why is that important to the infrastructure?
It's a good question, because most people associate blockchain with cryptocurrencies, for example. Blockchains also, at least blockchain data protocols, are also very useful for what we think of as highly scalable distributed data or distributed state. And one of the great characteristics of the content fabric is that there's really no shared state, in that there's no database, there's no single point that has to be a point of coordination between the nodes that run the fabric software. And we have built in a blockchain data protocol for that purpose that's part of the functioning fabric. A blockchain contract backs each of the content objects, which gives a transactionality, allows us also to certify the version or version updates to each of those objects. And then finally, it gives us a direct way to have transactions around the content, which is really great for monetization possibilities.
So how does AI fit into the picture as well? You're using that technology too.
Yeah. So I think we were lucky that we brought this, built the fabric, and also really pioneered the original ideas when machine learning was becoming mainstream. And we use ML for, first of all, routing of client requests and routing of has in the overlay network that constitutes the fabric to achieve low latency, high quality in terms of the distribution of data, if you will, which is media. The other way that we use ML heavily is also in content tagging and discovery. So tag content directly with our own machine learning models in the fabric.
And you mentioned latency. This is a hot topic at IBC 2019. It's very low latency, isn't it?
It is, and largely due to the fundamental differences in the architecture from what we think of as web caching-based CDN topologies. This is built from the ground up to be low latency from the source media to the actual consumable output. In real terms, it means that for on-demand content, the time for the first segment to arrive to a player is in hundreds of milliseconds. The completion time for segments is well under the playback deadline, so you can have high quality 4K content with good large buffering for the player, very smooth playout. And in live, it allows for the time of arrival, if you will, of the live stream to the player versus the source media to be literally 3 seconds or less within the player's buffer.
And you do all of this without a CDN?
Well, you would consider this, if you will,
CDN.
the new CDN,
Yeah.
and it is a different architecture, so it does eliminate the need to have what we think of as a traditional kind of aggregation, transcoding, and CDN services.
And when is it available?
Well, we're launching it here at IBC, and in November we're going to have a public availability on the website.
Well, I can't wait to come back and talk to you and find out how everything went with the launch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you with talking with us, Michelle.
Thank so much for your time.
Thank you. This has been Colin Dixon with nScreenNoise.